Ching Shih was a powerful woman. She was a pirate queen. She commanded a huge fleet. Some say she commanded 80,000 men. This was a time when men ruled the sea. She did things no woman had done before. Her life was amazing. It started small. It ended with her as a legend. She changed what people thought about pirates. She also changed what people thought about women in power. Her story is about strength. It is about smarts. It is about survival. It is set in China. It was the early 1800s. The seas were dangerous. Pirates were everywhere. But none were like Ching Shih. She built an empire. She fought governments. She won many times. Her rules were strict. Her leadership was firm. She made thousands of ruthless men follow her. They followed her into battle. They followed her through storms. They respected her. She earned that respect. She earned it through action. She earned it through victories. This woman lived an extraordinary life. She was not born into power. She made her own power. She did it in a world that did not expect it from her. She was a force. She shaped history. She left a mark. It is a mark of a true leader. It is a mark of a true queen. She was a queen of the pirates. Ching Shih was not always a pirate queen. She was born Xichanggu. This was in 1775. She lived in a small place. It was called Xinhui. This was in Guangdong province, China. Her early life was hard. She came from nothing. She had no family name that opened doors. She had no wealth. She had no social standing. She had to survive. She ended up in a brothel. It was a floating brothel. These brothels were common then. They were on the Pearl River Delta. Many women there had hard lives. They were bought or sold. They had little control. They worked to live. Shanggu was one of them. She was a prostitute. But she was different. She was smart. She was beautiful. She was sharp. She had a strong will. People saw this in her. She stood out. Her life changed in 1801. A man came into her life. His name was Zhang Yi. He was a pirate. He was a very powerful pirate. He was the leader of the Red Flag Fleet. This fleet was already big. It was a force in the South China Sea. Zhang Yi was a warlord of the water. He saw something in Shizhanggu. He saw more than just a woman. He saw a mind. He saw a partner. Zhang Yi made a deal. He wanted to marry her. But she was not a simple woman. She did not just agree. She set her own terms. This was unheard of. A prostitute usually had no say, but Shanggu did. She demanded a share of his fortune. She demanded a say in his affairs. She wanted a percentage of his loot. She wanted to be a partner, not just a wife. Zhang Yi agreed. This showed he truly valued her. He saw her as an equal, or at least as someone who could become an equal. They got married. Her name changed. She became Zhang Yi Sao. This means Zhang Yi's wife. But she was more than that. She was quickly involved in his work. She did not stay home. She sailed with him. She learned the pirate trade. She learned about ships. She learned about crews. She learned about battles. She was a quick study. She advised Zhang Yi. Her advice was often good. It helped him make better decisions. The Red Flag Fleet grew even stronger. She helped him organize the fleet. She helped him manage the many pirate captains. This was a complex task. Pirates were wild men. They were hard to control, but she helped keep them in line. She used her intelligence, she used her charm, she used her firmness, she helped build a confederation. This was not just one fleet, it was many smaller fleets. They all flew the red flag. They all reported to Zhang Yi. She was there every step of the way. She was learning. She was observing. She was planning. Her future was already taking shape. It was a future of command. It was a future of power. She was preparing for it. She did not know it yet, but she was preparing to lead. She was preparing to become the most feared pirate in China. Her husband's shadow was big, but soon her own shadow would be even bigger. She was not just Zhang Yi's wife. She was becoming Ching Shih, the pirate queen. She started from nothing. She built herself up. She used her mind. She used her courage. She found opportunity in a hard life. She took that opportunity. She made it her own. She did not let her past define her. She defined her own future. This was her first great act. It was choosing her own path. It was taking control. Even in a small way, it set the stage for everything that came next. She was about to become legendary. The year 1807 brought a sudden change. Zhang Yi, her husband, died. It happened at sea. Some say he drowned in a typhoon. Some say he fell overboard. The details are not clear. But his death was real. It left a huge hole. He was the commander. He was the leader. His fleet was immense. It was a collection of many different pirate groups. These groups were bound together by his authority. Without him, there was a vacuum. Pirate groups are unstable, they often fight among themselves. When a leader dies, power struggles happen. Other captains might try to take over. Her position as Zheng Yi's wife was not enough. It did not automatically give her command. She knew this. She had to act fast. She had to be decisive. She had to show strength. Ching Shih did not wait. She did not mourn for long. She quickly made her move. She had to secure her control. She had to keep the Confederation together. She knew who the key players were. One key player was Chung Po-tsai. He was Zheng Yi's adopted son. He was also Zheng Yi's lieutenant. He was a skilled pirate captain himself. He commanded a large part of the fleet. Chung Po-tsai was ambitious. He was popular. He had many followers. Ching Shih knew she needed him. She needed his loyalty. She needed his power. She formed an alliance with Chung Po-tsai. This was a smart move. Some historians say they were lovers. Some say she formally adopted him as her son. Regardless of the exact nature of their relationship, she made him her subordinate. She made him her chief lieutenant. He was powerful, but she was in charge. This was a complex dynamic. She used her intellect to manage it. She showed she could lead. She showed she could command respect. Her authority was quickly established. She did not just rely on her husband's memory. She relied on her own abilities. She had learned a lot from Zheng Yi. She had been involved in the fleet's management. She understood the politics, she understood the logistics, she understood the people. She knew how to inspire loyalty, she knew how to instill fear, she knew how to maintain order. Under her command, the Red Flag fleet grew even larger. It became the biggest pirate confederation in history. It controlled hundreds of ships, it had tens of thousands of pirates. The number 80,000 men is an estimate. It represents the total number of pirates. It also includes their families and support staff. It covers all the groups allied under her flag. This was a massive force. It was bigger than many national navies at the time. She reorganized the fleet. She made it more efficient. She made it more disciplined. She brought structure to what could have been chaos. She had to balance many things. She had to keep rival captains from fighting each other. She had to ensure a steady flow of resources. She had to plan attack. She had to defend her territory. She did all of this. Her strategic mind was key. She understood the power of unity. She understood the power of numbers. She understood the importance of discipline. She used these to her advantage. She did not just take over a fleet. She actively expanded it. She actively strengthened it. She made it her own. She became the undisputed leader. She was the commander. She was the queen. She was Ching Shih. Her rise was not easy. It was not given to her. She earned it. She earned it through quick thinking. She earned it through strong will. She earned it through shrewd alliances. She transformed herself. She went from Zheng Yi's wife to the supreme commander. This was a testament to her unique abilities. She was a woman who rose from obscurity. She rose to lead an empire of the seas, an empire built on pirate strength. She did it in a man's world. She did it better than most men. Ching Shih's success was not just about having a big fleet. It was about how she ran it. She knew a large group of pirates could easily fall apart. They were rough men, they were often brutal, they needed rules, they needed discipline. She provided it. She put in place a very strict code of conduct. This code was enforced without mercy. Her rules were simple, they were clear, and they were harsh. For example, all loot taken had to be registered. It had to be presented for a common fund. Private looting was forbidden. If a pirate took something for himself without permission, he was punished. The punishment was usually severe, often it was execution. This stopped greed from breaking the fleet apart. It ensured fairness. It ensured everyone got a share. It built trust within the ranks. She had rules about women. This was very unusual for pirates. Pirates were notorious for violence against women. But Ching Shih's code protected them. If a pirate kidnapped a woman, he was not allowed to harm her. If he wanted to marry her, he had to ask for permission. He had to be faithful to her. If he was found to be unfaithful, he was executed. The woman would be killed too if she was caught having an affair. If a kidnapped woman refused marriage, she was released. She was given money. This was an astonishing level of order. It reflected Ching Shih's own power. It also showed a different side to her leadership. She wanted some kind of honor, even among thieves. This helped her fleet get support. People on land sometimes preferred her to the government. Her code also had rules for interacting with villages. Her pirates were not allowed to damage crops without reason. They were not allowed to be overly cruel to villagers. This was clever. It helped her fleet get supplies. It helped them get information. Local people were less likely to betray them. They were less likely to fight back. This made her control stronger. It extended to land as well as sea. Her leadership style was firm. She was intelligent, she was ruthless when she needed to be, but she was also fair, at least in her own pirate way. She managed a huge organization. It was like a floating city. It needed food, it needed water, it needed repairs, it needed weapons. She oversaw all of this. She had lieutenants, she had logistics experts, she had a network of spies. She was the head of it all. She was also a skilled military leader. She understood strategy, she knew how to use her numbers. Her fleet had many small, fast ships. These were good in the shallow coastal waters of China. Government ships were often larger, they were slower, they could not chase her ships effectively. She used this to her advantage. She used hit-and-run tactics. She used blockades. She trapped government fleets in harbors. She attacked their supply lines. She even captured their ships. She incorporated them into her own fleet. She levied taxes. This was a major part of her income. The merchant ships sailing in her territory had to pay protection money. If they paid, they were safe. If they did not pay, their ships were seized. Their cargo was taken. She acted like a sovereign power. She controlled trade routes, she controlled fishing rights, she had her own system of justice. She was more than just a pirate. She was a ruler. Her rules worked. Her discipline held. Her tactics won battles. This allowed her red flag fleet to dominate. It controlled a vast stretch of the South China Sea. From Macau to Canton, even further, she built an empire. It was an empire of the seas. It was built on her sharp mind. It was built on her iron will. She showed that order could exist even in the most lawless of professions. She made her fleet the most powerful force in the region. Nobody could challenge her easily. Not even the great Chinese Empire. Ching Shih's growing power was a huge problem. It was a problem for the Qing dynasty. The Chinese government could not ignore her. She controlled vital trade routes. She disrupted the economy. She defied their authority. They saw her as a massive threat. They had to act. They sent their navy against her. But the Qing navy was not ready. They were often poorly led. They were not as motivated as Ching Shih's pirates. Her pirates fought for their lives. They fought for their shares. They fought for their queen. They knew the waters intimately. They used their smaller, faster ships to great effect. They outmaneuvered the bigger government junks. They won battle after battle. The Qing government grew desperate. They started to seek help. They asked other powers for assistance. They asked the Portuguese. Portugal had a strong naval presence in Macau. They asked the British. Britain also had interests in the region. They wanted to protect their trade routes. They also wanted to suppress piracy. These were powerful navies. They had better ships. They had better weapons. They had cannons. They were a serious threat. But Ching Shih faced them all. She fought the Qing. She fought the Portuguese. She fought the British. She was formidable. One famous battle was the Battle of the Tiger's Mouth. This happened in 1809. It was a major effort by the Qing. They had Portuguese ships helping them. They tried to trap Ching Shih's fleet. They tried to blockade them in a bay. It looked like the end for her. But Ching Shih was too smart. She was too resourceful. She did not panic. She used her knowledge of the tides. She used her superior seamanship. She outmaneuvered the combined fleets. She broke through their blockade. She escaped. Not only did she escape, but she also inflicted heavy losses on her enemies. Her pirates captured several government ships. They even captured some Portuguese ships. This was an unbelievable victory. It showed her genius. It showed her fleet's strength. She continued to raid coastal towns. She continued to collect her taxes. She held entire regions under her control. The government was humiliated. Their combined forces could not defeat her. They could not even contain her. Her resilience was incredible. She faced down some of the most powerful navies in the world, and she stood firm. But constant warfare took its toll, even for Ching Shih's mighty fleet. Battles meant losses, ships got damaged, supplies were needed, men were killed or wounded. It was expensive, it was tiring. The government was also changing its strategy. They realized direct fighting was not working. And they could not win by force alone. They needed a different approach. They started offering amnesties. An amnesty is a pardon. It meant pirates could surrender. They would not be punished. They would be allowed to go free. They could even keep some of their loot. This was a way to break up the pirate confederation. It was a way to turn captains against each other. It was a way to make them doubt their leader. This put Ching Shih in a difficult position. She had to think carefully. She had to protect her people. She had to protect her wealth. She had to think about her own future. She had never been truly defeated in battle. But could she continue fighting forever? Could she protect her empire against endless attacks? The government was persistent. The international pressure was growing. It was time for a new strategy. It was time for a different kind of fight, a fight of wits, a fight of diplomacy, a fight she was also ready for. She was about to show the world that she was not just a great pirate. She was a great negotiator. The Qing government was desperate. They could not beat Ching Shih on the water. Their fleets were too weak. Their strategies failed, so they changed tactics. They offered a general amnesty. This meant any pirate who surrendered would be pardoned. They would not be punished for their crimes. This was a huge offer. It was meant to lure pirates away from Ching Shih. Many smaller pirate groups took the offer. They left the Confederation. Ching Shih watched this happen. She was still strong. But her Confederation was slowly shrinking. She knew she could not fight forever. She had to secure a future not just for herself, but for her many followers. She was a leader. She had a responsibility. She decided to negotiate. This was a bold move. Most pirate leaders were captured and executed. They did not negotiate with governments as equals. But Ching Shih was not just any pirate leader. She demanded terms. She did not just surrender blindly. In 1810, she sailed to Guangzhou. She went to meet the Governor General, Bao. This was a very high-ranking official. She brought her top lieutenants with her. She also brought Chung Po-tsai. This was a tense meeting. She walked into the heart of her enemy's territory. She was still a wanted criminal. But she held a strong hand. She still commanded a massive fleet. She could still wreak havoc. Her demands were clear. She wanted a full pardon for all her pirates. She wanted them to keep their wealth. She also wanted a future for her captains. She demanded that they be integrated into the Qing Navy. Or they should be allowed to keep their ships for legitimate trade. She was looking out for everyone. She was thinking about long-term stability. The negotiations were tough, but Ching Shih was firm. She was persuasive. She showed her intelligence. She showed her power. The government had no choice but to agree. They needed the seas to be safe. They needed her gone. But they knew they could not defeat her by force. So, they gave in to her demands. Ching Shih herself received a full pardon. She was allowed to keep her vast wealth. She had accumulated a fortune from years of piracy. She was a very rich woman. Her husband, Chung Po-tsai, also received a pardon. But his fate was different. He joined the Qing Navy. He became a high-ranking officer. He was given a fleet of ships. His new job? To fight other pirates. He served the very government he once fought against. It was an amazing turn of events. He rose to the rank of colonel. He lived a life of respect. He died at sea, still serving the Qing. Ching Shih retired from piracy. She settled in Guangzhou. She did not fade away quietly. She used her wealth and her connections. She opened a gambling house. It was a very successful business. She lived a long life. She died in 1844. She was around 69 years old. She died peacefully in her bed. This was an ending almost unheard of for a pirate. Most pirates met violent ends. Most were executed. She lived a full life. She lived a successful life. She died a respected figure. Her legacy is immense. She was one of the most successful pirates in history. Man or woman. She commanded a force that challenged an empire. She was never truly defeated in battle. She negotiated her own terms of surrender. She left piracy on her own terms. Her story is important for many reasons. She was a woman. She rose from poverty. She rose from a life of prostitution. She rose to command thousands of men. This was in a time and place where women had very little power. She defied all expectations. She shattered gender norms. She showed extraordinary leadership. She showed strategic genius. And she showed political skill. She built an organization larger than many national armies. She managed it with an iron hand. She created a set of rules that brought order to chaos. She fought off powerful navies. She created an empire on the sea. Her story is a testament to her strength. It is a testament to her intellect. It is a testament to her sheer will. She was Ching Shih, the female pirate queen. She commanded 80,000 men. She owned the seas. She left a legend that still inspires.